everyone, and welcome back to Magnet Marketers. I'm Jessica Phillips with Now Marketing Group and Relationship Marketing System, and today we have an exciting topic. As you can see, we have some friends behind us. We're going to talk about buyer personas. What are they? How do they relate to your business? And how can they help improve your marketing strategy this year and every year, really? So first of all, buyer personas is really defined as fictional or semi-fictional characters that is your ideal target person for a business, right?
Correct.
So how do you use buyer personas, or why are they important to you?
Because they represent who your audience is, who's interacting with you, who's purchasing your products, who's viewing your services online. They represent your key demographic as to who you want to be, reaching out to. Defining your targeted audiences or your buyer personas really helps you create content that's specific to them. It gives them the opportunity to read about a product or service that's specifically interesting to, let's say, a manufacturer, or let's say a commercial driver, or somebody who's very different in fields. You aren't going to want to create content that's just generic and blankets everybody. You want something specific, so your buyer really is engaged and really finds it useful.
So how would this differ? You're mentioning like demographics. So, people that have been in business for a while and they start talking, they're like, hey, we're targeting males or females from 20 years old to 30 years old that live within this area. Like, how is that different than actual buyer persona that I'm going after?
Well, actually, it's a component of. I wouldn't say that's the same, but your buyer persona is all of those pieces wrapped up into one. Who is that target? Is it a female? Is it the primary purchaser in your business or in your home? What's her age? What's her interests? Is she or he, what are their hobbies? Where are they searching for information online? Where are they finding their information that's helpful for them? And what's their problems? What's their pain points? So you really drill down. Those key pieces are just components of the bigger picture that really defines who your true buyer persona really is.
So it really sounds like it drills down, and I know like creating buyer personas, even for businesses that we worked with, it's putting a personality to a person, and really so it's defining them versus like you or I, for example, same age demographic, but we probably have pretty different interests, right? And we shop at different places, maybe not for scarves, but for other places, and so targeting specifically to someone like us, it may go about it a different way, even though we're the same age range, and maybe shop for scarves or what have you, but they can, it takes a different turn than when you're starting to put the personality to the person, and meet them kind of where they're at. So how important would you say that buyer personas are when creating a marketing strategy? Let's say even, with inbound marketing, with blogging, how would you use buyer personas in that scene?
Buyer personas should actually be your very first step. You really shouldn't get started with your marketing strategy until you know who you're marketing to. And you aren't going to find that out until you take the time to sit down and really figure that out. A lot of people just, say, this is our products, these are our services. We're just going to push them out there and broadcast as loudly as we can. But if you are really being considerate with your messaging and your targets, you're going to get more bang for your buck. I'm not saying, inbound, we really focus on bringing the clients to, not the clients, but the buyers to our clients. But not to say that there isn't value in other means of marketing and advertising, but it's just, again, being considerate with where you're putting your dollar. And we've kind of talked about that in the past, just really, being considerate with who you're marketing to. And that buyer persona really gives you the opportunity to write topics. If you're blogging, come up with topics and ideas, your CTAs and your downloads specific to that person and to that buyer, rather than just being a bullhorn. You're being a bullhorn to a specific person in making the most of your marketing efforts.
Yeah, it's becoming a magnet. Like the reason why we call it magnet marketers, to build a relationship with someone, because I know it sounds cliche to say it again and again, but to build a relationship with someone, they have to know, like, and trust you.
Correct.
But to build a relationship with them, you have to know who you're talking to and who you're having that conversation with. So the more specific that you can get on who you're trying to talk to, the more that you're going to know what social platforms to hang out on.
Yes.
To even push your content, what kind of content that they're going to relate to, the kind of tone of voice that they're going to relate to. If it's more laid back, or if they do like the more informed kind of, messaging and content to be delivered that way. But then also, what kind of expectations that they're going to have after you even deliver that content to them. What kind of expectation are they going to have with that company? So the more that you can get fine-tuned into the buyer persona, we always say the longevity of your relationships depend on it, because they're going to refer their friends to the business as well if they had a good experience. But at the same token, you learn who you can help because you know what they're expecting from you. But you also learn negative personas too, which are the people you can't help in your business, because we all are in business to grow, help others, make money, solve a problem. But there's some people's problems that we probably can't solve within our business. So it's also important we've said, to set up positive personas, the people that you can't help. And there's usually, at least getting started with your business, 3 minimum, to get started with personas of labeling each person. Maybe you're in an education business and you're looking to target people in a master's degree, and you may have 3 or 4 programs though for that master's degree. Explain to me that process, and how can that business have positive different personas, I guess, for just an education degree. Let's say it's a master's degree program. How could that industry have different personas?
I mean, it has very different. I mean, it depends on your course curriculum. You can break it down based on course curriculums also. So, let's say you have a social work evening program, or you have your Master's of Business, or you have an online program, a business management program. You are going to target very different people for those classes, and they attract very different career paths and educational paths. So really taking the time to drill down and say, okay, I have a master's program. Who are we trying to reach? Are we trying to reach those students who are just graduating from their undergrad to pull them in directly from their undergrad straight into their master's program? Are we trying to reach the professional who might have plateaued in their career and they're looking to really take the next step, so they're going to go back to school? And then you also have the curveball. You have the busy mom who is like, you know what? I have raised my children, and it's time for me to go back to school and finish my degree path. Or they still could have young children at home and are continuing their career path, and education is a component of that. So really defining who those people are and their lives and finding out what's important to them is really going to help you to build those buyer personas and really target your marketing. I'm not going to write a blog about stress management tips and give it to the kid who's just coming out of college and going to complete his master's degree. I might give that to the busy mom who is trying to juggle kids, running them to and from football practice, her own career, and going back to school. She might not have time for a full course load. She may be enrolled in a 1 night a week program, but she still needs organizational tips to keep all those balls juggling so she can make the most of her educational path as well as balance family time. There's very different ways and paths of developing marketing, so that way it is thoughtful and considerate to your audience member, and you're going to make the most of your client if you really take the time to know who their client is trying to reach and who their buyer is. And you hit the nail on the head. There's some people that you just can't reach, and you need to know them. So number one, you might actually
time,
but
trying
you
to target that.
And you can also take that as an opportunity to maybe see as another line to grow later on. Those could be career goals for the next year or two. Maybe you do need to figure out how to solve that problem. That could be another service line.
Form a relationship to refer them on, and a partner business, and say, hey, I can't help you, but our good friends could, So I think we really uncovered that buyer personas are essential to any marketing strategy, because you know now who to have a conversation with and how that's going to help you in writing your content, because you're directing it before you even get started writing blogs. You have to say, who am I writing this to? Who am I trying to have a conversation with? And where you're going to be hanging out, because we know once we go through the buyer persona process, where they're going to be spending their time. If the busy mom, she might be on Facebook, not LinkedIn yet, or the
professional
professional is going to be LinkedIn, maybe not Facebook. So how does a company or a business get started with identifying then buyer personas? What's been the process that you've went through with your clients working with them on creating buyer personas?
We work on kind of developing a workflow or a kind of a plan of attack and pulling out what they want to market, what product or service do they want to market. And from there, identifying that key importance factor and then going down and saying, okay, now let's say we are targeting a master's program. Who is your key person who you want to be there? Okay, you may get a general broad, I want a male in his mid-30s who may already have his career path established and is just looking to advance into management or start his own business. Okay, fine. So now you need to drill that down even further. Where are his interests? Where is he looking up his news? Where is he finding his news? Is he looking at a newspaper or is he online? Is he finding articles on LinkedIn? Is he finding industry information? Is he looking at the Wall Street Journal online or, the Business Insider? You really need to figure out and take time to consider where they're finding their news. And then you're able to develop content that's relevant for them, but then also share it in places where they're going to find it. You're not going to, you mentioned it a second ago, you're not going to share things on LinkedIn that, maybe a student, he or she might be on Twitter, or he or she might be on, looking at something on Facebook rather than on LinkedIn. So you really need to be aware of where that person is finding their information to place their information.
So when establishing buyer personas for business, the biggest thing to start working on, it sounds like, is really asking a lot of questions. So getting the people that really are servicing the clients or selling to them, or both, get together as a company and start asking questions like, what does a day in this person's life look like? Who is our most profitable client? So not just the ones that make us the most money, but the profitable ones that are willing to come buy from us, that are also referring us on to their friends and family members and being an advocate for us, because those are the ones that we've really helped out so much that they love us, that they're willing to refer us on. So and start uncovering a little bit about that person's personality. Say, okay, so if they came to us, and we're using the same example with, a university, but if they came to us and they said, hey, I'm really looking at this program, start thinking in your mind of a real person that you've helped or that you're looking to help, and start thinking, what is their personality like? So who are they? What problems did they have at the first, the beginning, why they called us, and what were they searching for, and where'd they go for that information? So was it, I don't have time to go back to school. Can I go back to school? Can I afford going back to school? How's this going to fit in my schedule? All those questions, those are problems that they were thinking about and questions that they were thinking about. And then, like you said, where are they going for information? Are they going online to search it out? Are they searching from peers or family members? But then also start listing out your message to them. What's your message going to be when they get there? So if the first message that you're going to give to that persona is not going to be, we have an elaborate program that's full of all the resources, here's a catalog, because they don't have time. Once you know that you're targeting that persona, you already know what their pain points are, so you can have a marketing message that's dedicated specifically to that persona, and you should really have that already planned out, along with how you're going to overcome all those worries in that person's mind. If you know who that persona is, so you can say, don't worry, we have a 1 night a week program. Don't worry, it's a small class where you can answer all your questions and get them taken care of, and you already have all those objections solved ahead of time. But if you can come together as a company and start thinking of who your personas are, how you can help them ahead of time, list it out. We like to do an interactive process. We have like little cutouts here to just start thinking that we're really talking about real people. We're not talking about just a fictional person. We're talking about real people that we can really help. List them out and give them a name. Like, Marty Manufacturing or Bobby
Sally
Business
Schools,
or Sally Schools or whatever that persona name is that you're going to know internally, that any kind of marketing campaign that you're going to do, you're going to associate it with that persona. So you say, we're doing this campaign directed to Sally Schools or, Bob Business or whatever it may be, because then everybody gets it. They know who that marketing message is going to. And it's just so much more successful then because you're directing it to one person versus a general overview message, like you said, a bullhorn.
That bullhorn
you're a
where it gets
magnet.
lost.
Yeah. So, any finishing thoughts on buyer personas?
I just think that it really needs to be one of the first things that you do when you're developing your marketing strategy. It will help you cut through the noise. It will help you really define who your audience is, and you're not wasting your time and you're not wasting your dollars. I mean, it's the easiest way to really make the most of your marketing message.
So buyer personas are crucial for any business. Just getting started with your marketing message, you have to know who you're talking to have a conversation. That's all about what is relationship marketing and inbound marketing. Know who you're talking to and who you're trying to bring in. We want you to be very successful in creating your buyer persona. So I have some free resources that I'm going to provide in the link below. You can get a buyer persona template, how to create it, and even some additional video links on getting started with your buyer personas. Let us know how it works out for you. I'd love to hear your feedback. Thanks so much, and I look forward to joining you next time.